Hello, everyone. It's 6 o'clock. I'd like to call this meeting to order. It's the regular Town of Atherton City Council meeting for September 17th, 2025. Shall we stand up and pledge allegiance? I pledge allegiance
Flag,
to the United States, to the republic,
Republic, stands,
one nation,
nation, God.
under God. Thank you.
Mona was not.
May I have the roll call, please?
Councilmember DeGolia,
Yes.
Councilmember Widmer,
Yep.
Vice Mayor Holland.
Here.
Mayor Lewis.
I'm here. Thank you so much. So tonight we have three proclamations, and one is a very special proclamation. It's happy and sad at the same time, and it's for our council member, former council member Diana Hawkins Manuelian. So Diana, we have, here it is. I was looking for that. So we have this proclamation for you, and we also have this plaque for you. So if would you like to come down and we will,
Do.
All going down?
Excluded.
Just be in the back. Should we do a group photo?
So you're gonna be a group photo or just the two of y'all? Oh, okay. All right, no problem. Great.
okay, we'll start here with a short one. This says it's presented to Diane Hawkins Manuelian, council member, 2020 to 2025, from a grateful city council and the Atherton community for your dedication to excellence, commitment to sustainability, and devotion to the citizens of Atherton in appreciation for your years of service as both a council member and the mayor of the town of Atherton. Elizabeth Lewis, Mayor, Stacy Holland, Vice Mayor, Bill Widmer, council member, and Rick DeGloria, council member. So there you go with that. Now, we will, okay, if you want to hold that? You want to give it to her to hold? She wants to. Okay, so I have to turn this around like this, so I can hear it. This is a proclamation from the town of Atherton commending Diana Hawkins Manuelian for her service to the town of Atherton. Resolved by the City Council of the town of Atherton, California, that City Council member Diana Hawkins Manuelian has been an extraordinary representative on the City Council since 2020. And whereas in her 5 years of service, she has demonstrated insightful analysis, through her interest in considering new and innovative approaches when needed, in studying issues deeply, listening to constituents to seek understanding and represent their interests, and remaining committed to serving the community on every issue raised. And whereas her years on council meant that she has participated in some 130 public city council meetings and also serving as mayor in 2024. In addition to the hours of time serving in the role, Diana served as an advisory capacity to several town committees and ad hoc appointments. These included the Senior Task Force Subcommittee, the Train Museum Subcommittee, Town Survey Subcommittee, Commute.org, the Association of Bay Area Governments, the League of California Cities, the Airport Roundtable, the San Mateo County Emergency Services Council, and the Menlo Park Fire Protection District. I don't know how she did all of that. She was a busy girl, for sure. And then, whereas Diana demonstrated a commitment to the town's public safety needs as a strong and consistent active advocate for ADAPT, and the town's disaster preparedness needs, as well as seeking to address drainage and flooding issues throughout the town. Whereas Diana's colleagues noted her passion for the environment and sustainability, and she was known for bringing her background in academia to the discussion, adding value by focusing on community-centered strategies for actionable environmental goals. Whereas Diana's commitment to reimagining the town's Earth Day celebration in partnership with the Environmental Programs Committee raised the bar for the event. Diana's leadership raised awareness for the use of alternative energy sources for landscaping services by promoting the banning of gas-powered lawn equipment and by leaning into resident interests in technological advances by hosting a showcase of the latest electric vehicles helped to make Atherton a destination place for annual Earth Day celebrations. And whereas Diana's service as a representative of the Atherton City Council has made a difference to the services delivered to this community, and her contributions to the town will be remembered by residents, staff, and council. Now, therefore, the City Council does hereby extend its deepest appreciation and gratitude for the years of service, leadership, and representation in this community given by Diana, Hawkins, and Lillian. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the town of Atherton to be affixed this 17th day of September 2025, Elizabeth Lewis, name. She just made it look better.
That's right, okay.
Sure, do I have to go to the mic or?
Yeah, people have to hear it.
Well, they didn't have to hear me, I did go to Mike.
Take this guy.
I really just want to say thank you. First for the kind words. I don't know who wrote that, but that's awesome. But thank you to all of you guys. I've learned something from each and every one of you. And thank you to George. I don't know how the city's ever going to function without you. And Roberts. Thank you to Roberts. And thank you, Anthony. You'll be missed. And thank you to the residents that have supported me and put their trust in me. And I'm not really going away. I'm still here. I plan to continue to serve the community in different ways. And I'm sticking around for the museum opening. So I will see you all to toast champagne to the history of our city at the museum opening. So thank you all. Okay. That was less than 3 minutes, I'm sure. Thank you all.
It's on the agenda.
That's right.
And
That's right. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
I got a bunch of them.
You got one? He got it already, I think.
Yeah, I got a few. I think I got some else.
Awesome.
Yeah, they're natural.
Yeah, you were.
did I have my mouth closed? Well, during the picture. Okay. So here's our other problem. Okay.
Okay. Moving on.
Well, we have two more proclamations. Yes. There is a proclamation on the Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and that is to be presented to Cora. Do we have any representatives from Cora here? Come on down.
Yeah, so there was some discussion about this language that we thought should be changed. So, I would propose that we have the city manager revise it next period, and at the next meeting, redo it. But if you want to give it to him.
I understand, yeah. So this is basically a proclamation in recognition of October 2025 as Domestic Violence Awareness Month. I think there were just a couple of things that they want that council and staff wanted to make adjustments to, but we are very happy that Cora provides over $1 million in client cash assistance, including subsidized rent, security deposit, and a range of emergency expenses. From car repairs to storage costs, you do a remarkable job in the community for victims of domestic violence. So I'm going to give this to you, and thank you very much, and we will get back to them. Okay. Okay.
Please, yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you, Mayor Lewis and City Council members. My name is Caitlin Chang, and I am the manager of our Safe House and Supportive Housing programs at CORA, which is Community Overcoming Relationship Abuse. I have with me Jennifer and Emily from our development team as well. As we approach October, we're just so thankful and grateful for your ongoing support in recognizing the importance of Domestic Violence Awareness Month. The reason these kinds of proclamations are so critical is that it is an opportunity for us to call out and bring public awareness to a crime that happens often behind closed doors. Sorry, a little far away from the mic. CORA stands by its name to engage in partnership with the community to get this work done. We continue to do this by providing excellence in crisis support from our 24/7 hotline to our emergency shelters and our work with local law enforcement. Providing longer-term rental assistance every year to help families establish and maintain safe and independent living away from their abusers, supporting the path to a life without abuse through our extensive free legal and mental health services, educating families and youth through healthy relationship programming in partnership with schools and community libraries, and by raising awareness through community tabling and presentations. And lastly, we have also expanded our access across the county with our satellite clinics in East Palo Alto, Half Moon Bay, and North Fair Oaks. And we will also be a core partner in the new Family Justice Center that will be coming to San Mateo. With you and your support, we continue to work every day to encourage that our neighborhoods are filled with safe and peaceful homes. If you or anyone that you know is experiencing intimate partner abuse, please provide them with our 24/7 hotline number, which is 1-800-300-1080. All of our services are free and confidential. And thank you again for recognizing Domestic Violence Awareness Month in October. We greatly appreciate your support and your partnership.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So our next proclamation is in recognition of September 2025 as Suicide Prevention Month. Do we have any representatives from the Suicide Prevention Month organization?
Doesn't look like it.
No? Okay. If not, I won't read the proclamation. It's in our packet, and we will make sure that they get their proclamation sent to them. Thank you very much. Okay, now's the time for public comments, where you can come to the podium and talk about any matter that is within the jurisdiction of the city council. State law prohibits the council from acting on any items not listed on the agenda except by special action of city council. So comments for items on the agenda is limited to 3 minutes. Comments on items that are not on the agenda is limited to 1 minute. Any member of the public wish to make a public comment at this time? See, none online. Oh, yeah. Oh, Zach, come on. Yes, come on. Yes, absolutely. How are you? Speak your name.
Hello there, I'm Zach Whitman. I live at 26 Selby Lane. And one of the agenda items is for, it sounds like, I think, some grant money for regarding signaling at Selby Lane and El Camino Real. And, you know, I'm generally against that. It's been, my time living there has spanned 51 years, interrupted by marriage along the way. And it's been a nice rural area all this time. Not having a signal sort of supports that. It's always been a busy intersection. I made plenty of left turns from that intersection. You just wait for a break in the traffic. And I'm aware of accidents, and most of those, I believe, are due to the driver, driver negligence, not necessarily the fault of the intersection. I am aware of other neighbors in the area who are generally against the idea of having signals there as well. I spoke to one today who lives on Gresham. And I just kind of wanted to, to voice that. I am aware of that. It might be helpful, though, to actually to have a pedestrian signal at some point, just because there does seem to be more pedestrian traffic, but it just would do away with some of the nice rural feeling that we have in that area, some of which is already starting to show up with that SB9 development that's showing up on the corner there already, and we're generally trying to maintain the feeling of our street. Thank you.
Thank you, Zach. Any other member of the public wish to speak at this time? Seeing none, close public comments. We'll go on to any disclosure of ex parte communications for any member of the council. None? You just see none? Okay. We'll go on to departmental written reports. The departmental written reports are found in the agenda, online agenda packet. And it is full of a lot of information that you want to know about whatever is going on in the town of Atherton community. So it's a link to the departmental monthly reports and the 2025-26 work plan. So any questions on that? Okay, moving on. There was no closed session. We'll go on to our consent agenda, which is items number 1 through 8. And consent items are usually taken in one motion and approved unless someone wants to pull for discussion any of the items. Does any member of the public have any questions or desire to pull an item 1 through 8? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to council. Does any council member have a question or an item that they want to pull? Councilmember DeGoya.
I have a couple comments I'd like to make. Items and questions.
Okay, comments and questions?
Items 4 and 5.
Okay, go ahead. Item number 4 is approve an amendment to the professional services agreement with Alta Planning for the active transportation plan, bicycle and pedestrian master plan update.
Yeah, so first, so this plan is to update the bicycle and pedestrian master plan, which was established in 2018, and we're labeling it as the active transportation plan, which implies that it deals with more than just bicycle and pedestrian. It deals with transportation in general. So I just wanted to clarify that. Most of the discussion is about bike bed, which is fine, but it also seems that its target is to broaden that in the context of transportation in general within town. So I wanted to clarify that that's accurate.
Can I make a comment on that? Sure. I could be wrong, but I believe that we used to have 2 committees. To have a transportation committee, and we used to have a bike ped committee, and we merged them. So I think Mr. Rabati would like to respond.
So I'll elaborate on that just a little bit. Active transportation is related to those modes which require activity, physical activity. So those are really the walking and biking. It's not necessarily focused on transportation in general with regards to vehicle traffic, with the exception of how we potentially reduce the level of stress for those active transportation modes. And so there may be some recommendations to do some traffic calming and that kind of thing to facilitate active transportation, and that would be walking, biking, scooters, wheelchairs, and other things. So the predominant activities are related to what we call walking, biking, and rolling, for lack of a better way to put it. So that's the focus. It's the active, put the emphasis on the word active transportation.
And will it, so active means you're actively engaged in something rather than
Driving a car.
pressing a pedal?
Yeah.
But what about, how does that deal with bicycles that are electric? Or
As far
scooters
as
that
the
are
plan
electric?
is concerned, I'm going to segregate out those that are technically classified as vehicles. But we're looking at bicycle, we will be presenting regarding bicycle facilities. And so whether those are shared use facilities like we have now, enhanced shared use facilities such as a bike boulevard, bike lanes, which we have now, separated by, what do you call it, buffered bike lanes, which we have now, and potentially buffered bike lane, or, sorry, separated bike lanes, which have an additional separation feature. But the anticipation is if it is classified as a bicycle, then they would be using, they are allowed to use bicycle lanes as well as vehicular travel lanes according to the vehicle code.
Does that answer your question?
It's kind of unclear exactly what's active.
Vice
Those
Mayor
that
has
you
a,
pedal.
The bike user or pedaling. They're not, those are active. Those qualify as active.
Okay.
Not all
Okay.
of them.
Not all of
Not
them
all.
are.
It's basically, I mean, those are the ones who are using bike lane. So
when there is a bike lane. We don't have bike
Skateboards,
lanes
the guys are
everywhere.
just shooting
The
down.
reason
Skateboards,
that
They got
my
one
second
wheel
comment
and
they're in a
it's
bike lane.
Who says?
in the middle.
second comment is that the reason that this is before us is because it's a proposed amendment to add additional funds to this project to enable additional meetings. And my understanding is that with the addition, it will enable 6 neighborhood meetings and 2 community-wide meetings.
So
More.
when the council approved our original agreement with Alta, there was a concern that there was not enough public and neighborhood outreach. With the adoption of the current year fiscal budget, the council augmented the project budget by $50,000 to allow for that. So this amendment allows for us to do, I'll call it the words, up to the 6 meetings and the 2 community-wide. We will be picking which ones and where, and so it's just really more of an allowance for those meetings and preparatory materials and handouts and things that we would be able to utilize at those meetings.
And if all those meetings aren't held,
We
then
would say-
those that aren't held will reduce the amount of the funds that are
That's correct.
expended. Okay.
Perfect. Do you have another?
Yeah, on item 5, and this is approval of a professional services agreements for the design and permit of El Camino Real stormwater and drainage improvements for Phase 1. And the staff report identifies the phases as Phase 1 being from Stockbridge to the end of town, I think, north end of town, and Phase 2 being Almondral to the south end of town. And my question is, well, what happens between Almondral and Stockbridge?
And it's on the
Okay.
west side.
Phase 3.
Where-
It's on the
because-
west side.
Because obviously that's part of the town and has to be addressed.
No,
So it's got to
I-
go into one of those phases.
Understood. So predominantly, our localized flooding is at the intersections. And so I believe that there's no other street in between. Right.
Between them.
And so what we're doing is we're dewatering the intersections. In that second phase, because that going to say, we're going to like maybe potentially do some shoulder grading, but I'm not quite sure what the timing of that second phase is and whether or not there may be efforts on the Grand Boulevard or other thing, or on El Camino overall that would change how that looks.
So that addresses my question. So to the extent that there is any shoulder work or any other dewatering effort that's required between Stockbridge and Almondrall, it sounds like that would fit into phase 2.
Yeah.
So moving along.
That's it.
That's it. Okay. Any other questions or comments about the consent agenda? If none, I'd like to get a motion to approve the consent agenda items number 1 through 8. We have a motion. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Vice Mayor second. We can just vote, right? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? That motion passes, and the consent agenda has been approved. So moving on to item number 9, which is to introduce by title only and waive the first reading of an ordinance adding chapter 10.06 to the Atherton Municipal Code relating to speed limits. So I think, Mr. Ovadia, you're up.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. As you said, we're requesting to introduce by title only and waive the first reading of the ordinance adding chapter 10.6 for speed limits. Cities and counties in the state of California are required to follow the California Vehicle Code in terms of how speed limits are established. Those requirements outlined in the Vehicle Code and the California Manual of Uniform Traffic Control Devices require that an engineering and traffic survey be conducted to determine what the predominant speed on a particular roadway is, otherwise known as the 85th percentile of traffic, and that's the speed at which 85% of the vehicles travel at or below. And the presumption is in the vehicle code is that if the preponderance of folks are driving a certain speed, it is safe. There are certain allowances within the vehicle code that allow for some adjustment to that number. And what it is the initial is you're required to round it to the nearest 5 miles an hour and up or down, whatever is nearest. And then you can drop it by 5. Okay. And there are some additional justifications that can be made to further reduce it. And there are provisions, for example, like school zones, in which case you've adopted some reduced speed limits in school zones via ordinance previously, via resolution previously. They have provisions for senior zones and business districts and various other pedestrian and bike heavy usage that allow you to do some further reduction. The town had previously established all of its speed limits pretty much via resolution. The vehicle code requires that it be done via ordinance, and that's why we are coming to you tonight to introduce the ordinance so that we have this in our Muni code adopted via ordinance. So the engineering and traffic surveys have a life, and through the COVID period, that life has been extended. And so it used to be that they'd be valid for 5, they're now valid up to 7. And they are then extendable if things haven't really changed, but they still have to be validated by that engineering and traffic survey. So there were some streets that were approaching expiration, I think 16 street segments. And so we conducted those engineering and traffic surveys. They are attached and incorporated into your packet. The first table is a table of the existing speed limits. All of the streets are proposed to be the same with the exception of 2, and I'll highlight those in a second. There is a typo in both the table, in the staff report as well as the resolution with regards to Atherton Avenue. And so the segment on Atherton Avenue between Alameda de las Pulgas and Stevenson is 30 miles an hour. It is intended to stay at 30 miles an hour. The segment between Stevenson and El Camino Real, which incorporates that heavy sweep, is 25. It is proposed to stay at 25. So that's a typographical error in the staff report and resolution that we will correct as we bring it forward for the second reading.
Background, it's,
So that's
this,
on
in this,
page.
it's okay.
And so the two streets that we are recommending that the speed limit be reduced on are two streets that the council designated as safety corridors. And those are Middlefield Road and Valparaiso from El Camino to Cotton. And so when we had brought the item for declaring those streets as a safety corridor, there was a discussion about that speed limit reduction, which the council was supportive of and asked us to bring it back. So that is all included here in the staff report.
Cleaning up past errors, moving forward with some new recommendations.
As I said, the speed limits that were previously established are all staying with the exception
About
of,
that error.
no, with the exception of the reduction on Middlefield and Valparaiso. And so the existing speed limit as listed in your first table for Atherton Avenue is listed correctly. It is as we transposed it into the recommendations and into the resolution, the numbers got flipped.
Yes, Councilmember Whitmer.
Robert, just a quick question, I guess on timing of analysis. Many things were done and taken before school started. Significant changes the number of cars on the street and also the speed on some of those streets. Was there that?
So the studies are, the survey collection and the data collection is supposed to happen during free flow traffic. And so that would be outside of your commute hours and your pickup drop-off times for the schools. So whether the school is in session or not typically wouldn't be a factor.
Or on vacation in this area, parts of August. I just would have, you know, so you get a fairer reading, because I think that I could personally question some of the analysis that you have in the back.
Okay.
Especially with the dates that you had it.
Well, we can certainly, as we move forward, we have a need to do additional surveys for other streets that are going to be nearing their expiration in the next year or so. I think within the next couple of years, we have a variety of streets that we will need to resurvey. If there's any particular streets that are of concern, we can do an additional data collection for those streets at that time.
So Councilmember Whitmer, are you thinking that these are too low or they're too high?
What was recorded here was a little,
A little low?
as well as the amount of traffic that was there and how much was over. So the quantities. Now, if I could ask one additional question. So I did see a box that had the, Atherton thing on it. So collecting these by radar?
So we hired a consultant to do the survey. They hire a separate firm to collect the data. And so they did use radar to do that. They also, while they were doing that, we also asked them to take counts of bicycles and pedestrians on the streets that we are using actually to help support the information in the active transportation plan. So with regards to the windows of time for the study, just informationally, the way that it's done is we're either collecting a minimum of 100 vehicles or an hour. of time. And so some of those numbers are low because there just weren't that many vehicles driving on the street.
If we were to redo this, I would hope that, it'd be nice to see how many are motorized, motorized two or one wheel items as opposed to cars. Meaning those skateboards or those wheels that just have one board and the guy stands on, he's going down the middle of the
I
street.
think we have one of
Should be
those in
count
town.
those. We should count those and know how many we've got, what speed they're going at too.
They should be licensed so that we can. Vice Mayor, you have something to say?
I'm sorry, I missed what you said about how this data will require active transportation.
While the data was being collected, we requested that sub-consultant that was doing the counting, they put up a camera for a 12-hour window on the streets to capture bicycles and pedestrians. And so that data was collected for our information, not necessarily related to speed limits, but for us to know, for example, how many cyclists were riding down Atherton Avenue, for example, to help us understand demand.
Okay. I I was tracking what you were saying for the speed limits of having non-congested roads, but I feel the opposite for the active transportation plan, because when kids are coming to school, parents are riding bikes, kids are riding bikes.
And
That's
it's
data
a
we
higher,
need to
yeah.
against. So this will not be the only data source for the active transportation refresh, right? It's just.
No, it's just supplemental information.
Okay, Bill,
Yeah, where is the bike data here? Because I'm looking at.
That's not, this
the
is not
individual
setting
sheets
speed
that you
limits for
sent out.
bicycles.
Okay.
setting car speed
This
limits.
is for vehicle traffic only.
Okay.
Okay, I thought you said they had counted the
Okay,
bikes.
Councilmember
We
DeGoya
did
wants to
count.
say something, then we're going to open up for
Oh, I've got a
public.
question. So I don't really understand the relationship between the 85th percentile judgment and what is out in speed limit.
Okay.
Explain that. And
I will try. So we are required to count a certain amount of vehicles to see how fast they are going. The 85th percentile speed is the speed at which 85% of the cars are traveling at or below. And so you'll have, for example, some cars that may be going 40 miles an hour on a street and other cars that are going to be going 20. So we take a look at how many cars are driving at 20, 21, 22, 23, all the way up. We look at that and you analyze and say, well, what is the number at which 85% are traveling at or below?
at or below.
At or below. And so the vehicle code says, well, you use that as the basis because the preponderance of traffic on that street are traveling at that speed, and therefore it should be safe to travel at that speed. And so you use that as the basis for setting your speed limit. Okay, so that's the starting point.
So if the 85th percentile is 32 miles an hour,
Okay.
then what's the judgment?
So the first thing is that you're required to, since you can't set it at 32, you say round it to the nearest 5. So that would be, you round it, it would be 30. If it's
Is that the maximum
33,
speed limit? Or is that the minimum?
that, I'm going to say that that's where you start to make your analysis. So you can set it at 30. You can set it higher if you want. Okay?
Set it lower.
You can reduce it by 5. Okay? So if it's at 33, it rounds to 35. Then you can drop it by 5 to 30. Under additional special circumstances,
Like
you can drop
kids.
it by another 5.
School.
But there's a maximum number that you can take that 85th percentile and drop it. And I think that the code says 12 and a half. So you can't take that number and just arbitrarily move it down. And you have to justify that drop.
So just to reiterate back to make sure I understand. You are evaluating all the cars in a certain time period, and you come to a determination based on the speed of all those cars. The 85th percentile is 85% of the vehicles traveling on that road in that determined time period are at or below a certain speed limit. That becomes the 85th percentile. You then round that number to the closest 5, and that you can reduce the speed limit 5 miles below that rounded number,
That's correct.
unless there are special circumstances, in which case you may be able to
Further reduce it
by an additional
by
5.
additional 5. But there is a cap on how far you can drop it.
I
Okay,
just,
that's very helpful. Thank
I have
you.
an anecdotal comment to make about this. I was out in front of my house, and I live on Alejandra, where there's Sacred Heart School on one hand, and Menlo College, Menlo School, and a neighbor is walking by, and he says, "I really am so appreciative of your new signage and your flags and the speed limits, because it really has made a difference for us, because I don't know about you guys, but during drop off, I mean, parents are going down Alejandra to Sacred Heart like a banshee. And they're definitely, if you took your measurements then, we'd be having a 40-mile-an-hour speed limit there. So anyway, I just want to thank.
Or giving out tickets.
Okay, I know, Commander just walked in, so.
I know, we're gonna.
Anyway,
Oh, here.
okay. You have, Vice Mayor has a question.
Clarify how, just confirm that this is gonna not affect our speed limits around school zones that we met about in May. Those will still,
No, those are when children are present.
just want
Yeah.
that in the record. That's what I
Yes.
assumed,
Good.
but
Well, I think that's why I said that, because it's good, and the
Seen my-
residents like it.
right. I mean,
Okay,
it's a lot of these.
okay. One more question, Councilman DeGoey.
Okay, so I am looking through the entire material on this item number 9, and the first table shows speed limits that have been set by resolution in 2017, 18, and 20. And the second table are the suggested changes which impact those 2 streets that you referenced. But nowhere in the staff report is there the information about what the 85th percentile is for all those streets that are included in those tables. In the attachment, there are in attachment 2 and 3 are resolutions that were adopted by the council, the first one in 2020 and the second one in 2018. And those both provide speed limits we set at those times and the 85th percentile. But we don't have the 85th percentile as whenever we most recently be, and that seems like relevant information.
That information's in attachment number 5, but if you would like us to bring it forward when we come back with the second reading, we can adjust the table
So-
to include that number.
So right now, what we're going to try to do is we're going to waive the first reading, introduce by title only, and waive the first reading of an ordinance adding Chapter 10(6) to the Atherton Municipal Code relating to speed limits, correct?
Public comment for,
Oh, any member of the public have a comment on this? Speed limits, traffic. Commander is not a member of the public, but I think he would have a lot to say about this. Okay, I'll bring it back. Thank you for correcting me on that. May I get a motion to waive introduced by title only and waive the first reading of an ordinance adding Chapter 10.06 to the Atherton Municipal Code relating to speed limits? Thank you.
With the qualification that when it comes back for the second reading, I'd like the staff report to include all the 85th percentile data for each of the streets that are referenced.
Chapter 5.
All of them.
the study. Is that chapter 5, you said?
I don't know what
It's in
chapter 5
attachment
is.
5, just the individual sheets, but we'll just add it to the table in the staff report. It's not a big
Okay.
deal.
That's fine.
All right. And Councilmember Whitmer seconded. Questions? All in favor?
Do you need
Aye.
a roll call vote on this, Mayor?
Oh, we have a roll call vote, Mona?
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you.
Why do we need?
I think because it's an ordinance.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
Councilmember DeGolia,
Yes.
Councilmember Whitmer, Vice Mayor,
Yes.
and Mayor Lewis.
Yes.
Thank you.
No abstentions and no nays, the motion passes. Okay, moving on to item number 10, which is consideration of an appointment to the Park and Rec Committee. And Anthony, do you want to take that?
I will take this. Thank you, Mayor and Council. As you know, that there's been a longstanding vacancy on the Park and Rec Committee. We've continued to recruit, and we were fortunate to get an application from Mr. Don Keller, who I believe is in attendance today. There's several folks on the Park and Rec Committee that have various terms that are expiring. There's only one that's going to expire in 2026. So if we get Mr. Keller appointed today, we'll have our 2 other foundation seats as well as all of those seats covered. And if there's any questions, I know that Mr. Keller is available to
Sure.
take them now.
Would you like to come and talk to us about why you want to be on the Park and Rec? I read your application and
Sure.
it seems like you're an athlete.
Used to be, maybe. So my background is I've lived in Atherton for 35 years on James Ave, owned a house there, raised our 2 kids there. They're in their 30s now, and we've got grandkids. I've, from a career perspective, have been a partner at a law firm, Orrick Harrington, for the last 30 years doing business and corporate law in this area. But I've recently become sort of a 10-hour-a-week person as opposed to a full-time. So I've got time on my hands to give back. So that's where that comes from. And then from an interest perspective, as you said, I've been involved in sports all my life. I've played baseball, basketball, football, rugby, tennis, now pickleball, running. So participating at the Park and Rec level seems like a logical thing.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your application and interest in serving the town of Atherton as a committee member. So I'll bring it back to council. Any questions or comments about this? And yes, here's our liaison to the Park and Rec. You've probably seen him
Sure.
a few times. Yes.
Thank you for your application. We're thrilled to fill out this entire committee. I'm going to that we appoint.
I'll second that. Okay.
Great.
Okay, great. All in favor? Aye.
And no
Opposed?
public comment?
Oh,
Yeah.
no public comment. Oh, I keep forgetting.
There's none
You know,
online.
I don't consider these guys public. They're like friends out there. So, thank you. Well, I'll vote. We all voted. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Thanks for raising your hand.
Yes, great. Okay, item number 11, moving on, is to adopt resolutions authorizing the filing of grant applications to the San Mateo County Transportation Authority for the El Camino Real Selby Lane Traffic Safety and Mobility Improvements Project and for the Alameda de los Pulgas Traffic and Safety Improvements Project. And I have to say, I love that we are going after grants because lots of times we don't get grants. I sit on CCAG and I never see us get grants. So thank you for putting that together. But that's the item that we're going to talk about. Is there any member of the public wish to talk about this, ask questions? I know Zach has already made his public comment, so thank you very much. Does any member of the council have questions about this? Councilmember DeGoya.
Staff report says that, if I read it correctly, that the county is funding one project per jurisdiction at a time. Is that right? We're applying for 2.
We're applying for 2. They are not restricting the number of applications.
Where do you see that?
I see that in the second paragraph under background. It reads local jurisdictions, other potential project sponsors can apply for and contend for funding for one project development phase at a time?
What they refer to as phase of a project. So you can have multiple applications for different projects. And so for larger projects, they don't want you, for example, to come in for planning money and construction money at the same time. We are seeking construction funds for the Alameda project to help us fund the construction of that project. With regards to the Selby project, we are actually asking for two categories, design and construction. But we did have a conversation with the Transportation Authority, and we're asking for that because we'd like to compress we'd like to facilitate construction faster. Based on the priorities that the council has given us, improving the Selby intersection is a priority, and we believe that we can deliver the project through design and get into construction within the overall window that they have required.
That's acceptable.
Thus far, when we met with them, they said it was acceptable. We will find out as we go through their grant review if they only want to fund one phase versus both. But we felt it important enough to ask for both.
So I have a question about the Selby Lane improvement, El Camino improvement. There will be additional design criteria and programs to be discussed, or is there one or the other? Because I know that there's the Hawk Beacon or the signalization.
So
One has a pedestrian activated component to it, and the other is, just a full-blown street light.
okay. So in our application, we did not specify one over the other. We do need to do a little bit of analysis and a little bit of outreach to figure out exactly which one we want to do. This is a safety and mobility grant. It has to facilitate mobility, particularly on the highway corridor. And so we do have the option of the full signalization, which really would alleviate a lot of the pressures on Selby, both sides, because right now the level of service at the intersection, it's pretty much free flowing on El Camino, but it is at a level of service F at the intersection for those that are trying to get in and out of Selby. So we can facilitate that mobility by A, putting in a traffic signal to regulate traffic and facilitate pedestrian mobility and safety, which is really critical at that intersection. Or we can put in a Hawk Beacon, but if we do the Hawk Beacon, the alternative that was discussed previously is blocking off left turns from Selby Lane. And so that is how we are going to make sure that things move smoothly. And so it's not, you're not just going to we can't just put up a Hawk Beacon to stop traffic on El Camino without otherwise improving mobility.
So follow-up question about where does Caltrans stand on this? Because I know years and years and years ago, they came up with us and they said, we've got warrants, to put a signal there because it is such a dangerous intersection. Are they still involved? Will they be involved in making the decision?
They will be involved because they have to approve anything we do on the highway. And so part of our design is going to require, similar to the drainage design, is getting whatever we're doing through Caltrans. So whatever analysis we need to do, we will go through Caltrans to do. They are involved in the Grand Boulevard effort. They are aware of all of the work that we've been doing on our gap closure study with regards to El Camino Real. In that overall study, it still left both options open between the signal and the Hawk Beacon. But I think that once we get the funding, we'll put out an RFP, hire a design team, help us. The first phase is really going to be, these are the concepts, this is what we're looking at, and dialing into what is the right answer for the intersection. And so that's going to be part of the design.
So one more question, and I promise I'll leave the floor. But what about the county? Because I know the county has to be involved with that, because isn't that whole area, and we're dealing with Atherton, the county, and Caltrans.
Simple answer, yes.
Yes, so they're involved.
They will be.
They will
I mean,
be?
Pay for part.
like I say,
I mean,
they were
they've got to
also
help pay
involved.
for it, right? Because it's part of their, yes, no?
We can talk about, I think that through the Transportation Authority, we're asking for 75% of the money.
Okay.
So we're asking for $3 million from them to support this project.
I honestly hope that we can get it, pull it all together.
So,
Vacation
That
grant.
suffice for their.
Yes. Okay. Councilmember DeGoya has a question.
Yeah, so we are applying for the grant without being specific as to whether requests for hot beacon, traffic signal. How are we going to make that determination? I mean,
so that, as I indicated, would be probably one of the first areas of effort to do whatever traffic analysis we need to do to support that decision. We'll be coming to the council, likely have a public meeting of some sort to gather public input, and then come to the council to confirm the direction that we are going so that we can, that's really going to be one of the first hurdles in terms of, we're not going to be able to move forward with the overall project without knowing which one of those.
but might the county grant it, notwithstanding having to?
The county.
CK.
You're talking about for the money?
Yeah.
It was, the grant application was written in with the flexibility. If they come back and say, I mean, they can come back and just say no, or they can say yes, however. And so we will get that information. I think we put in the timeline for the grant award. So they are anticipating making a determination overall by the end of the year.
End of the year.
Yes.
Any
So
other
that
council
timeline is in here. So they are, the grant applications were due on Friday.
Right.
So
This Friday.
the resolutions that you're adopting tonight are required to support that application. They are beginning their review of those grant applications that they've received from everybody in the county. And so we're now in that evaluation period. They are planning to make their initial recommendations to the board in November. And they are likely going to ask each jurisdiction to make a presentation regarding their grant applications.
And while they're going through that process, and I understand the expectation is, will we be going out to do outreach to look at that intersection and get public?
Not directly. And I say that because whatever money we spend before we get the grant is not going to be reimbursable. So our intent is to hire our consultant after we get the grant. That being said, we have other outreach and engagement plans, for example, for the active transportation plan that we are going to be going out to the community to get feedback on. And in that plan, there are some highlighted intersections that some attention is recommended, and this is one of them. So we'll get some feedback, but it's not going to be specific to that.
Yes. Vice Mayor.
For the Alameda de los Pulgas, that is a project that had federal funding tied to that was in danger of expiring. This adding to the federal funding, replacing the federal funding? How do they all work
Okay,
together?
so we've gotten confirmation that we have secured the federal funding, so that is there. So we've done that. This is an augmentation. The federal funds remaining after design is about 1.4 million.
Nice.
The overall construction of this thing is going to be probably close to 4. And so the rest of that money comes out of our pocket. So we are seeking $1 million from the Transportation Authority to help fund the construction of the project.
Great.
Councilmember Whitmer, did you?
No, I went
Okay.
over everything with George. I'm
I just,
comfortable with it.
so I just want to say that a lot of work was done some years ago in the design phase for the Selby El Camino intersection. And I wonder if any of that, those designs or work that was done for that is going to be redone or looked at.
So we have those analysis that were done, and I think that that led to some recommendation, and then the project kind of.
Configuration and stuff, yeah.
Yeah, so those configurations, I believe, are in the El Camino gap closure study, and they're referenced in there. Standards have changed, the level of traffic has changed, so all of those traffic analyses will have to be updated because that, I think, that analysis, I think, is probably about 8+ years old.
At least.
Yeah, at least, right?
So,
Okay, so what you are wanting from us is to adopt the resolution authorizing the filing of grant applications to the San Mateo County Transportation Authority for the El Camino Real Selby Lane Traffic Safety and Mobility Improvements Project and for the Alameda de los Pulgas Traffic and Safety.
so Mayor, just a point of clarification, they're two separate
There are two separate
resolutions.
ones, yeah, I see that here. So resolution number 25-XX is the Selby Lane. I have a correction in the, there's a typo in the first, second whereas. El Camino Real, including Selby Lane intersection, is identified as the Bay Area. We need an A there, Bay Area Vision Zero Plan. Rest of it is, okay. And in the Alameda de los Pulgas at the bottom, number one under the whereas the TA requires, there's an extra zero in the,
Thank you.
it's 100 million. But then the commas were in the wrong places. Okay, so, okay, can I get a motion to accept first the Selby Lane Traffic Safety Mobility Improvements Resolution? Vice Mayor and City Council Member DeGoya, second. Questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. The second motion is to support the Alameda de los Pulgas Traffic and Safety Improvement Project. May I get a motion?
Motion.
Vice Mayor?
Second.
Councilmember DeGoya. The corrections. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Any abstentions? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Okay, so we're on to item number 12. Let's do this.
All right, thank you, Mayor, members of the council. This item is related to the Holbrook Palmer Park Playground Restroom Replacement Project, which
That's a
the council
mouthful.
has funded. I'll give just a brief presentation and then open it up for questions and feedback. So we are seeking feedback and direction with regards to whether you want to replace the bathroom as budgeted, or given concerns that have been raised through the process, whether we want to scale that back to basically renovating the existing bathroom footprint. The overall project budget is $850,000 as approved by the council in last year's and this year's CIP. We have been proceeding and working with the Park and Rec Committee to determine what the appropriate layout for a new bathroom would be. And you have a copy of the layout in your packet. And so as we had gone through, we had first selected a different bathroom, but physically we couldn't, it wouldn't be constructible. So our option now is basically a cinder block build on site. So what we have for you is if we're going with the replacement, a request for approval of a contract with Romtech. That's it. So a contract with Romtech for design and supply. They are not a contractor that builds, but they do the design, help get the permits and supply all the materials. And then we would go out and hire a separate contractor to do the installation on site. The design and supply contract is about $300,000. The alternate to that would be basically hiring an architect team, and we found one that would do the design basically of, I'll call it, for lack of a better way to put it, a gut remodel of the existing structure. Ballpark number for that is about $30,000 for the design, and then with that we would seek a contractor to do that renovation. There are distinct advantages and disadvantages to both. The first one being is if you're doing a renovation, you're keeping the shell of the building. So the building is not expanding. You're keeping basically, I believe it's 2 toilets for each gender, versus an expansion and reconstruction wherein we're tearing down the building and building a new one, and the new building proposal has the addition of a family restroom, as we had previously come to you and talk about.
And 3 stalls.
I believe so. Yeah. So in both cases, we are removing and rebuilding and providing a new lift station for the restrooms, because that is a ongoing issue for us. And then obviously with the expansion, we have to move it anyway. But we do need to replace that lift station in the back. So with that, I'm available to answer any questions you have.
So I think the question before council is take the old existing bathrooms and kind of quote unquote update them, remodel, tear out old fixtures and walls and plumbing and see what you have to work with. No, when you're doing remodel, that would be the less expensive way, kind of the on the cheap, or to take this opportunity to build a new facility that's going to last a long, long time. Something that we can be proud of. So we can talk about it. Yes, Vice Mayor wants to.
Public comments.
Do we have any public comments? Gary, you don't want to weigh in on this? Yeah, okay, thanks. Any online? Vice Mayor wants to say something.
Well, I had a question. So the brand new bathroom in the staff report, the high end is 800,000. So it's within the budget that we've already allocated. There's no extra money. But what wasn't super clear to me was what the difference would be for bathroom, because my understanding is the brunt of the expenses are universal. The new utility connection is going to be a lot of expense. So the refurb, I know it's very unknown, but do you have a guess of?
So I'm going to say
saving?
that the guess on the refurb is probably going to be about half of the other one. So between 300 and 400, including the pump station.
Well, and most significantly, I think, in both cases, the sewer pump system.
That's
what they were
great.
just talking
That, as I said, that regardless of which option is chosen, we have to do that.
That's been the problem with the current bathroom.
There's a
The sewer
variety.
pump system rather than the inflow of water?
Okay, so we have, let me see, I'll try and describe it this way. So normally you have a gravity sewer line, right? It just flows by gravity to the main. In the park, the main is higher than the discharge from the bathroom. And so we have to use grinder pumps and grind up the stuff, lift it, and discharge it to a point where it goes by gravity, and that's located by the pavilion. Okay, so this has a discharge pump that outlets near the pavilion, and gravity flows into the main, which is running across the front towards the main house. In addition, the discharge from the ball field bathrooms has a pumping system, and that discharges into the pump behind this bathroom. So when this one goes out, not only do we close this bathroom, but we have to close the other one because all of that stuff comes into the hole for this pump. And so we've had ongoing issues with this one. I think we've replaced the mechanism several times, but the overall system is just out.
So, and both of these proposals would completely redo.
That's correct. And hopefully with some redundancy.
Bill, hi.
Hi. My understanding, I guess, is Park and Rec was out taking surveys or whatever, that there was express need for a family room, more stalls. The refurb doesn't meet those needs, so me, I mean, we're putting a lot of money into park with playground and everything like that. We need to make the bathroom proper. It's going to bring more people there, both the younger and well, some older kids. I think the need for a family room is necessary. So, it's substantially more expensive. I would put forth that I believe that we should go with the brand new one as opposed to the refurb. Because as the mayor pointed out, when you do a refurb, start looking past the wall, you find out that they're necessary. So let's do the right thing. I think that it would have been great if we could have gotten the crane across the bridge. We've heard about this problem before. One of these days we should probably. I think that redoing the thing properly and making it support the families that will be there, having a larger women's room with most of the parents that go there are women, bringing in the kids. I think that the design on the brand new one is, I fully support that. Like I said, substantially more.
Thank you. I have to agree with Councilmember Widmer on that he's absolutely right, that, if we do it right, for the additional monies, this new facility will be something that we can be proud of, and it will service a lot more of our residents in a very healthy way. And if you amortize the amount of money that would be over the life of the new project, the building, I think it's de minimis. It's not that much. I had an experience just this summer. My grandson from Melbourne is 4 years old, and his mom and dad were at the park with me, and they had to go to the bathroom. So mom took the little boy in there, and she comes out, she says, I don't know about that. I think and it was embarrassing, And I think that it's not going to break the bank. I think if we do it and do it right, I don't know if I like this design is this the one that you're talking about, this design?
So we have
Maybe it's the picture that's kind of askew. It just
Okay,
feels,
so I think I'll refer you to a different picture. It's the same bathroom.
it's at the back.
This,
Yeah, okay, let me look at that.
so if you flip a little further in the packet,
That's page 244.
244.
The
Yeah, I didn't
image
know
is
if
a
it was the
little
same one,
better.
if it was, you know, a different one.
There is a design option sheet also included in the package that kind of says about the different finishes and
The
things.
proportion seems way out of whack. I mean, it seems
Yeah, it's
really
just the way that the
skinny and,
package
I mean,
was
it's just,
printed.
but it's going to be, it's proportional, right?
Yeah.
Right. Anyway, I fully support going with the design build here and the brand new. Okay,
So if we can get,
Councilmember DeGoya would like to.
Well, my first comment is Mayor said, it's $300,000 to $400,000 difference. That's a lot of money. I can go along with the other council that I see the mayor. And I think that what council member Widmer said is that sometimes machine older facility, you expect that additional cost. That's certainly true. My biggest concern, the problem we've had here is with the sewer pump. And we've got to make sure we have an industrial quality solution there. So I'm fine to go with the wrong tech, but we've got to fix the sewer.
Agreed. So agreed. I didn't want make it seem that it's de minimis. In the overall scheme of things and the longevity of a brand new building and facilities, it will pay for itself going. And so you.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't commented, I just have just questions.
Oh.
Obviously I'm aware of fancy new bathroom. On top of what everyone said, for us to spend $500,000 on a curb of a bathroom and have it not feel like a real outside of a sewage line feels like a waste of money. Like, we should do it once, do it right, have it serve the need in terms of capacity, having the family bathroom and having it be. And I think that structure currently doesn't match most of the rest of the park anyways. It looks really old park compared to the pavilion, so it's not worth restoring from my.
Looks like something that a Boy Scout.
It look, yeah. So.
Or a Girl Scout.
Oh, Girl Scout, yeah, sorry.
So, yeah.
All right. Any
you
member
just
of the
got rid
public
of my
have
favorite, I was
questions?
going to have the Eagle Scouts do it. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, get some volunteers to build
Yeah,
this.
All right.
well, you know, I'm
Okay,
sure Frank can arrange
So
that.
let's bring it back. Any questions from the public or online? Any comments from staff? Okay, let's call for a motion to approve the new, the option. Do we have an option that we're calling this? Option 1 design build? If not, I'll make the
So
motion.
it's, you're authorizing staff to enter contract with Ron
Right.
for design and support.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to authorize staff to enter into a contract with ROM Tech for a design build for the bathroom
And to do a bid for.
and to do a bid for construction. Thank you. Second? Vice Mayor seconds it. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Passes unanimously. And with that,